All right. So we're talking the first universal law, and that's the first universal law according to me. In case you're wondering who said, I said. Okay. And I'd love to hear if you agree or disagree. Let's jump right in to the first universal law. So the first universal law is that you need stress, and not the kind of stress that we feel every day, like, oh, I can't pay my bills and I don't know if I have enough time to do all those things and my boss is going to be upset with me. Those not those kind of stress. So the word eustress, you meaning, or you spelled EU stress, the little prefix EU is from the Latin good. So you in front of things, I think it also means true and good. So eustress, there's kinds of stress, and there's eustress, EU stress. It sounds like I'm saying you with a Y, but eustress, and then like not like I guess bad stress or other stress. And those constant nagging worries, that's bad stress, but eustress is good stress. And there's lots of stuff coming out on this now with science. One really famous, not really famous right now, but had a bit of a peak and is still kind of peaking, is cold water therapy. That exposing yourself to cold water is a type of eustress or good stress that causes a positive reaction in your body. That's why it's a good stress, because it causes a positive reaction, and bad stress causes a negative reaction. So the universal law is that you need eustress or good stress. You need it in your life. I've got lots of proof for this, so you don't have to take me at my word, because I don't take people at their words, and I would not expect you to take me at my words without examples. So let me give you a few, and a story that happened to me this morning, and a call to action for you. Because this is a weight loss group. It's about trying to improve our fitness. And there is a lesson in here that I want to share with you. Let's get right into it. So eustress, good stress. So you need good stress. You need to keep increasing the stress you put on your body so your body can continue to grow. Your bones are a perfect example. So your bones remodel, meaning they reform themselves on a cellular basis. I don't know how often it is. I'm going to go 7 years, but it might be faster. Let's go 7 years just so I can put a number on it. So your bones remodel themselves, and they will only grow as strong and as dense as they need to. So that's what you hear about astronauts that go to the moon, or do they go anywhere else now? Anyways, astronauts in the space station, they have less gravity working on them. And in response to the gravity that is not working on them, it's a reduced fraction of the gravity, their bones and their muscles respond, because your bones and your muscles will only be as strong as they need to be, because your body is very, very efficient. And this efficiency often works against people when it comes to weight loss, which is why I wanted to bring this into the universal truth category, in that your body will respond to this good stress, and you need to apply it, especially these days with convenience at an all-time high. Every time there's a set of stairs, there's an escalator or an elevator. And part of it is about, not diversity, but not handicapped. That's not the right word. Accessibility. Perfect. There's the word. So having the escalator, not even the escalator, having the elevator present whenever there's stairs is a move in our society to have accessibility, so that everybody can go to the top level of whatever structure it is, not just people who can walk upstairs, right? But with human beings that do not have accessibility challenges, always taking the elevator and always taking the escalator, we reduce the amount of stress we put on our physical bodies, and our physical bodies respond, which is why as a population, we're getting sicker sooner, we're picking up more chronic diseases, we're dying younger. I think we saw the first downtick in expected life expectancy since the invention of like plumbing and running water, right? When we stopped pooping upriver of our drinking water, we saw a sharp increase in life expectancy, because we were dying because we were giving ourselves diseases by pooping in our drinking water. We didn't know that because we were young as a people. And then when we learned that and we stopped doing that, and we started, either pooping downstream or introducing running water, or washing our hands is another one we didn't do because we didn't know to. And there was lots of, increases in hygiene in the human race, and as a direct result of the increase in hygiene practices in the human race, our life expectancy went high. And for a long time, it was just going up, because, we were, getting more food. We were addressing the food shortage. We were cleaning our water. improving our hygiene, developing vaccination, all these other things. But then in 2020, I think it was 2020, it may have been 2021, there was the first downtick that we've seen since then. There's lots of things that could be causing that. I'm not going to speculate on that, but chronic diseases like diabetes and cancer are on the rise, period. That's not my opinion, that's true. And I think I might even say that I know that it is because of the increase in convenience culture. And so the universal truth here is that you need good stress. The bones remodel themselves. They will only remodel themselves as dense as they need to based on what you do with your body. So if you do not lift weights and you do not carry your groceries because you got yourself a fancy car and you drive to the supermarket, you park as close as you can and you get someone else to bring groceries in for you, that means that when your bones go to remodel themselves again, they'll go, well, we only have to hold our own body weight because this body doesn't lift. This body doesn't support things. Like maybe, you had young kids when you were younger, but now your kids are old adults and they're out doing their own thing. So you are no longer picking up that 40-pound little kid and carrying them around with you all day, right? You are no longer carrying the stroller in one arm and the kid in the other arm and going to the truck to load it all up, right? We don't do that anymore. And so when your bones remodel, they're like, we don't need that extra bone mass because we don't do those things anymore. So this good stress now is up to you to apply. You have to do it and you have to know why you're doing it. You're doing it to make your body respond in a favorable way because your goal is weight loss, right? And the best way that to get this goal is to put on muscle. And the only way you're going to put on muscle is by applying the stress because your muscles will only grow as big as we ask them to by giving them stress because the only way that they understand, like you can't call them up on the phone and be like, oh, hey, I would like to build some muscle right now. Can you go ahead and just put that on for me? It doesn't work like that. The way you give them the message is by lifting weights or doing resistance training. It doesn't have to be dumbbells if you don't like dumbbells. It can be any kind of resistance, but that message needs to be clear. That message of you need to be bigger, you need to be stronger has to be given to your body all the time. And it will respond. So when your bones go to remodel, if you've been lifting weights and carrying things, the next time your bones remodel, they will come back denser, period. That's a fact. It's a science thing. Look it up. So if you want your bones to be thicker and stronger, you need to give them more weight to bear. And while you could probably put on 80 pounds and that would do it, we don't want to put on 80 pounds. We want to weight our bodies and load our bodies using external weights. So carrying your groceries, carrying your grandkids or your kids or your nieces or whoever's around. There's such a thing as rucking, which is when you go for a walk, the army does it. They load up these packs of 20, 30, 40 pounds. It really depends. They put them on their shoulders and they walk the same walk they were going to do anyway, but they're loading their body. Their muscles become stronger because they have to carry this pack plus their own body weight, and their bones, all the bones below that also become stronger and denser. And that is the universal law. So another example is your brain. Your brain needs to be stimulated. In order, they use it or you'll lose it. Your brain needs to be stimulated, needs to be stressed. Your brain is a question answering machine. If you ask a question, your brain will answer it. That's how your brain cannot leave a question unanswered. It's just not how it works. So now let me get into the story, which might drive this home. The reason I bring this up as a universal truth, and the reason I'm saying this to you to remind you, is because you maybe already heard me say it, but we as people, especially in our convenience culture, don't apply as much stress as we could. This shows up a lot with women in weightlifting in that they grab the little 2.5 pound dumbbells and that they can throw around. Like they could literally throw it up in the air and catch it if they wanted. But that's the weight that they choose to work out with. And the universal truth is you have to apply more stress. And the higher you raise the bar, the higher the build. So if you're not raising the bar and you can lift the 2.5s and you stick with the 2.5s and you lift the 2.5, you lift the 2.5, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, years, and you never raise the bar, your muscles will never grow. Just because you lifted that little weight 20, 30, 40 times does not mean your muscles will grow, because this level of stress does not challenge these muscles. If you keep the level of stress the same, your muscles will hit it and they will stop. The tricky part with weight loss and muscles, which I've said before, is if you're doing cardio, the first time you go for a run, it's hard because you've never run before. Your legs will put on muscle because they're like, oh man, no, I need to be able to run this 1K that this person is now running. So your legs will grow to the point where they can run 1 mile or run one kilometer, kilometer. I mean, they're different, but I mean, the idea is the same. So let's go with 1 mile. So you run a mile, your legs will grow to be strong enough to run 1 mile. You keep running that same mile, the same pace, the same speed, the same incline, your legs will never get stronger because they don't need to. And what's worse is if you're on a calorie deficit and you are not resistance training and not increasing what the stress, the eustress that you ask of yourself, and you're in a caloric deficit, your body's going to start to get greedy and start stealing things. And if you're not using that muscle, because it is so metabolically expensive and your body is so efficient, it will go, are you using this? Are you using this muscle right here? No, you're not using it? Okay, I'll just rip it apart and use that protein for something else and stop wasting calories there because you're not using that. And I need my calories because I'm not getting enough and I'm highly efficient. So I'm going to go ahead and eat this muscle you're not using anymore because it's expensive. So I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to use it. And this is how we wither away. Another common pattern in the developed world where we live is that as we get older, we gain weight, right? Everybody notices it. And there's lots of reasons for it. But one really interesting one that is completely avoidable is the fact that as we get older, we tend to become more stable and more set up, right? So while you were young and you had to hustle and run after it and like even in my own life, like when we were younger and I moved out, we lived in a less affluent area and we had to carry our groceries because we didn't have a car because we couldn't afford a car. And then we got a car, but we still carry our groceries, right? Like that was one switch, but most people get a car. Then they no longer need to carry their groceries and take public transit and walk, between 100 and 500 meters to their location because they have a car now. They can afford a car. So you lose that, right? You don't have to carry your groceries anymore because you have a car. You don't have to walk anymore because you have a car. You don't have to walk upstairs because you maybe got a house on the main floor. So now you're not in a condo. You don't have to take the stairs up because you walk right into your door. More money and more affluence tends to be less activity because as a society, we value convenience. We look down on the person that has to walk somewhere because they don't have a car, because they don't have a car. They don't have as much as I do. But really, they're fitter than you. They can walk further than you. They're stronger than you. Their cardio is better than yours. Their bone density is higher than yours. So yeah, you have a car, but that convenience has lulled you into a false sense of, I guess, superiority. And so when you see convenience, what you should see is an opportunity to get weaker, not an opportunity to save anything, time, whatever. Convenience and the way it's spreading and permeating through our culture is giving us, and the writing is all over the wall with the increase in chronic diseases. Child diabetes is, children at 8 have diabetes. Can you believe that? Like, does that sit well with you? That is a direct result of the convenience culture that is just coming on hard and fast. Every year it gets harder and faster, this convenience culture. And every time you see it, you should see it as an opportunity to get weaker. And I know that that's not what you want because what you want is to lose weight. And if you want to lose weight, you need to build muscle. And if you want to build muscle, you cannot take the easy way out. There's a lot of things you can buy in the world. There's a lot of things you can schmooze your way into getting with connections, but a strong, healthy body is not one of them. You have to earn that. You have to earn that by applying the stress. And so that is my rant on that. Now, as far as women lifting weights. So if you are in a caloric deficit, you bet your butt you better be lifting weights if you are in a caloric deficit, because if not, you will be eating up all that muscle because that's just science. So you want to lose weight. You're like, okay, I want to lose weight. I'm going to introduce the eustress, the good stress. I'm going to lift weights. Now you're lifting weights. That's amazing. That's a win. I'm happy. But now there's another level, right? Here's another level, another double. Here's another level. You're lifting weights and you finally got comfortable with it. You got your form dialed in on your major lifts and you can do it. And you like the feeling of leaving accomplished. And that feeling of feeling accomplished and liking that will keep you holding on to those lower weights. You won't push the weight a little bit higher to see if you can do it because what if you fail? Now that feeling of comfort is gone. But I encourage you to be always racing. If you haven't lifted till failure and you forgot what it feels like to fail on a rep, you probably need to raise your weights. Every once in a while, and it doesn't have to be some sort of logical forced thing, but every once in a while when you're lifting weights, jump up to the next rung. So if you're lifting 7.5, go to 10. If you're lifting 10, go to 12.5. Or is it 12? I think it's 12. Depends on your gym. From there, 15, right? And you always just try it. Pick them up and do a few and see how many you have. Here's my story. This morning I was doing leg day. I ended up having to break my leg day into 2 sessions because when I did it yesterday, I couldn't hack it. I don't know if I wasn't rested enough or what, but I was in there and I was like, okay. And halfway through, I'm like, that's enough. That's enough for today. Let's go home. So I went home and then today I was back in there to finish it up. So I'm doing my leg extensions. You're on the machine, you got your feet here and they push out. And this is the top, this is the quads. Pretend these are little legs, right? So you put your machine and you push. So you're extending your legs against the weight. Oops, missed that one. There it is. And then your quads will get stronger. So that's the leg extension. And then you have your hamstring curl, which is the opposite. So you're curling in. And you get your little meaty hamstrings here curling in. So I did those two, and then I did Romanian deadlifts, which I can't demo with my fingers. It's not an ability I have. And each one of those lifts today, I increased my weight because I had it recorded which weight I was pushing, and I was like, you know what, I'm probably underdoing this. So each one, I just threw. So with the machine, I just threw the plate on. I'm like, let's see. And with each one of those lifts, I was at least 10 pounds below what I could push. This is what I mean. I don't know how that. I guess I do know how it happened. Just all the stuff I was talking about, right? But I thought to myself, after I added all that weight, I was like, wow, I've been underlifting. Here we go. So now I've raised the bar on myself, and I expect to see excellent gains, because that is the universal law. That is the universal truth, is if you raise the bar on yourself and you put more resistance on your muscles, they will grow. It's true. And so I wanted to take that story and bring it into you to encourage you to start resistance training if you're not already started. And if you are started, it's time to shake it up. I know a lot of you, I saw in the chat before, are doing exercises, and it's coming along, and I love it. And I also want to ask you to reflect for just half a second if you've maybe mastered that now, and it's time to push a little bit harder, to change it up a little bit. I know not everybody likes weightlifting in this group, and that's totally cool. There's lots of stuff that can be done with body weight. I definitely recommend doing things with body weight and increasing the number of reps, and then adding a little bit of plyo. So just a quick off the top leg workout. And I would start with legs because they're huge muscles and they will give you a huge calorie burn. So anybody watching this that has not yet started resistance training, I do have a YouTube video on how to get started. I'll link it in the comments, but this is even shorter than that. We're going to do leg day today. You want to do some warm-ups. So Google leg warm-up, leg day warm-up, or leg muscle warm-up. And there's some hip 90-90s, lots of stuff. We're just pretty much going to wake up the joints of the legs. So the hip, the knee, and the ankle. And you want to warm up each one of those a little bit, 10 minutes if you can, before jumping into your moves. It'll make it more fluid. Then you're going to do some squats. You want to hinge at the knee and at the hip at the same time, lowering your butt back and pushing up through your heels and kind of screwing your feet externally when you come up. That's the kind of foot pattern. So your feet are here. You want to just imagine like you're turning them with your glutes. Aim for 15. If you can do 15 and it's not even a thing, like you're not sweating, you're not breathing, you didn't have to stop, you don't feel it in your glutes, you're going to add a little bit of plyo. Or you can change the tempo. So the tempo would be you slow down the lower, pause for a beat at the bottom, and then raise it back up. This is one way to increase this pressure. This is another way to increase this eustress. This is another way to build your body with the universal law, right? So tempo, slow down the descent, pause, slow down the rise is one way to add eustress. Number two, increasing reps. If you're at 15, that's a pretty good number. Oh, cool, balloons are coming everywhere. They must really like what I'm doing. Tempo is 1, 2 is reps. If you're at 15, that's good. Number 3 would be plyo. Plyo is just another word for explosive or jump. So if you are doing 15 squats and it's not hard, and then you increase the tempo and it's still not hard, now you're going to add a little bit of plyo. So when you squat down and then jump up, right? It's a jump squat. So you're driving through your heels and jumping and leaving the ground. That's a good place to start. If you can do 15 jump squats, well, then we need to talk about getting you even further than that, because that's a good place to start as a beginner. It's working your way up to 15 jump squats with excellent form. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. If you are not currently doing resistance training, I think you should get off this live right now and go do it. That's my opinion. Do the squats, then do some lunges. You have to do both sides. There's definitely, that is definitely an area for growth. You got lots of stabilizers. So I would do 3 sets of squats, 3 sets of lunges on both sides. And I'd call that a leg day just to get started. If you try that, let me know in the comments. What did I want to say? Yes. So that's that. So all to say that the universal truth is that your body and your mind respond favorably to stress. And the other side of that coin is that convenience is not good for you. I know that It looks like it might be, but it's not. Anytime you see convenience, run in the other direction. And your weight loss journey will thank you for it. Next, there was a short workout there that you can do. I recommend that you do it. And whatever it is that you are doing in your training, I encourage you to raise the bar on yourself a little bit today, because you may think that you aren't falling prey to this, but you might be. And the best way to do it is just to check. So the next time you are doing your workout, push a little bit harder, increase the weight a little bit, do a few more reps, do a little bit more on the tempo, and see if you can. And if you can easily, it means you're under lifting. It means you're under pushing yourself. It means you're not applying the good stress in the way that it needs to be applied to get you the results that you want. And hence the title, right? If you ignore the law, the universal law of applying eustress for benefits, then you will suffer in your weight loss because you will hit a plateau. If you do not continue to raise the bar on yourself and raise the bar on your muscles, you will hit a plateau and you will not be happy with the results. Perfect. So any questions, leave them down below. Please try that leg workout if you are not currently doing resistance training. Just for a poll for my own knowledge, who is doing resistance training? Put your hand up or drop an emoji so I can know. That's it. I'll see you in the comments and I'll see you same time next week.